Today, History with R&R returns to May 1915 to revisit a tragedy that happened while the world was at war.
History with R&R proudly presents The Sinking of the Lusitania.
This is Robert Knowles at History with R&R Radio Studios in New York. It is May 5th, 1915. The Lusitania left New York on May 1st. Aboard the Lusitania is our correspondent, Jeff Franklin. We now go to Jeff Franklin.
This is Jeff Franklin aboard the Lusitania. The voyage has been a relaxing one, but as we draw closer to the Irish coast, nerves are visibly starting to show. I've arranged a special interview with the captain later today. However, for now, this has been Jeff Franklin. Back to you, Robert.
This is Robert Knowles in New York. Many eyes are on the crossing of the Lusitania, due to the threat made by the German government in the paper on the day she set sail. I now will play a pre-recorded message made by Lord of the Admiralty Winston Churchill.
Ladies and gentlemen, as First Lord of the Admiralty, I want to assure you that every possible precaution is being taken to ensure the safe passage of cargo and passengers to our shores. The Admiralty considers it a top priority to ensure protection from the U-boat threat, and we consider any threat made by the German government to sink passenger liners a scare tactic. The British people and the world will not live in fear. Instead, I ask you to trust in the Royal Navy and the Admiralty. Thank you for your time and your support.
That was Winston Churchill, First Lord of the Admiralty. I now go back to Jeff, who I understand has an interview with the captain of the Lusitania, Captain Turner.
Thank you, Robert. I am here with Captain Turner. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing well. However, I have to keep this brief because I'm needed on the bridge for evening watch.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. First of all, we have heard the rumors that the Germans have made a direct threat against the Lusitania. How concerned are you about this threat?
We are aware of this threat and have been assured by the Admiralty that we will have ample warning of any such submarine activity. Also, I'd like to remind you that this is the Lusitania, and her speed is more than enough of a shield against any U-boat attack, as we travel much too fast for us to be a target.
I would like to ask as well about the rumors that the Lusitania is carrying war contraband. Can you put to rest these rumors?
That's bloody absurd. Lusitania is not carrying any war contraband of any kind. That's strictly German propaganda.
Thank you for clearing that up. I understand that the Lusitania is running on 3 out of 4 boilers. Will that have any effect on our speed?
Yes, it's a cost-saving measure. Only 3 of our boilers are running. However, that still gives us a top speed of 22 knots, keeping us out of the crosshairs of any U-boat we'll come across. Now, if you excuse me, I need to get to the bridge.
I appreciate your time. This has been Jeff Franklin with Captain Turner aboard the Cunard liner, the Lusitania. Back to Robert Knowles in New York.
Thank you, Jeff. Back here in New York, we have received word that the Admiralty has notified all ships headed to the coast of Ireland that there has been torpedo attacks and U-boat activity all along the coast. No further information as to which ships or how many have been lost in these attacks have been given to us at this time. We now go back to Jeff Franklin aboard the Lusitania to try to get a feeling for how the average passenger is handling the voyage.
This is Jeff Franklin on the deck of the Lusitania. I'm going to try and get a word from a couple of people to gauge the concern amongst the passengers. Excuse me, miss. May I have a moment of your time?
Well, I don't have a lot of time, but I have time to answer a couple of questions.
Do you have any concerns making the crossing during a time of war?
I would be a fool to say no. However, my husband has assured me that it is quite safe and that we are in no danger.
What are your impressions of the Lusitania so far?
The accommodation have been adequate, and it has been quite pleasant so far. I must be going, as my husband should be finishing up playing poker with the other gentlemen, and it is getting quite late.
Thank you for your time, miss, and have a good evening. I'm going to try to find another passenger to speak with. Excuse me, sir. May I speak with you for a moment?
Good evening. What can I do for you?
Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
By all means, if you don't mind me having this cigar while we talk.
Did you see the write-up in the paper from the German government that the Lusitania could be a target?
Yes, I did. And that is some nerve, them threatening to sink the Lusitania. We all know that that's just them blowing smoke. This ship is way too fast to catch, let alone sink.
So you have no concerns that we may come under U-boat attack?
Well, you'd be a fool not to have concerns, but the captain assures us that this ship is too fast to be a target, and the Admiralty has promised protection, so I don't let it get to me.
May I ask why you're making the crossing?
I have business in London, and if you don't mind, I'd like to get back in and have another drink before I turn in. Good night.
Of course, sir. Thank you for your time, and have a good night. Back to Robert Knowles in New York.
It is May 7th, and the Lusitania should be coming into view of the Irish coast. Let us check in now with Jeff Franklin aboard the Lusitania.
Good afternoon, Robert. The Irish coast is coming into view, and so far we've had no sightings of U-boat activity. Wait a minute. What is that? This is Jeff Franklin. The Lusitania has been struck by what seems to be a torpedo. We are taking on water. I sent it back to Robert in New York, and will update as soon as I can.
The Lusitania has possibly been struck by a torpedo, as reported by Jeff Franklin. We are trying to confirm this. 1 minute. This just in. It is with a heavy heart that I must confirm the Lusitania was attacked by a German U-boat and sunk 18 minutes after she was hit with a torpedo. We are still trying to find out if Jeff Franklin made it off the boat. We will break into regular programming as soon as we have information on Jeff Franklin's well-being. This is Robert Knowles from History with R&R Radio Studio. Until further information is available, thank you and good night.
This presentation of History of R&R was written and produced by Robert Knowles. It was edited by Robert Knowles with honorary writing credit to Richard Simpson. Robert Knowles played himself, Jeff Franklin himself. Chris Knight played Captain Turner. Stone Loki was Winston Churchill. Bubble Valkyrie as passenger number 1. Mr. CCDV as passenger number 2. Please join us next time as we explore another moment in history with History with R&R. Thank you and good night.
What is it with these damn ships sinking?